hello, Baz, and welcome. Welcome today.
Hello.
So we've just been having a little chat off camera, and you've just said something a second ago which really resonated with me, and that's actually what I'm going to start now. And that's that we're not perfect.
No.
We're not perfect. And often, when we face that and accept that, we accept our pain and our imperfections, that we start to heal or open ourselves up to healing.
Yes.
So tell me about your pain and what started your journey.
Yeah, it started at a very young age, and the whole concept of what happened, I say what happened to me, but it was for me, really, when I look back, was body dysmorphia, which, men and women struggle with. But it was so paramount, and it started by just a sentence from my sister. And when I was younger, I'm one of 9, so I've got a big family, 2 sisters, 6 brothers. And body dysmorphia, of course, back then, so I'm 39 now, so this was in the early 90s. And she just joked, like siblings do.
Yeah.
And she basically just said, the oldest brother is the ugliest brother, just for jokes, and we all laughed. And one day she just said, I look like him. So as a 7-year-old, I took that I was ugly. She didn't mean it in that sense. And what happened then just transpired into something where I was the smiliest and happiest sibling, my sister would say, to then be going inwards. I used to hate what I saw in the mirror. It took me 2 hours to get ready for school just by looking in the mirror, trying to find a good light in myself. And it was really painful because even connecting with partners in my teens, I didn't know what it was, but I used to, even on my lunch breaks at school, I used to go into the toilets, and for most of my lunch break, I'd look into the mirror, trying to find a good light in myself. And it was really hard. I gained rituals to not see a bad light in the mirror because it would ruin my day. And just connecting with myself, hating myself, anxiety, depression. If I had a bad day, I'd be like, right, I'd stay in my bedroom. Hopefully the next day would be fine. And it was really tough, especially, and something we said off camera, we said as a man, not a lot of men talk about the body dysmorphia, but a lot of women do. And, I support males and females are the ones that do open up and tell themselves straight away, and it's so honest about if they don't love themselves, don't like what they see in the mirror. But for men, it's, when I've worked with them, it's breaking down the door for them to be open.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And 11 years of my life was really tough. I had a talent to play rugby when I was younger as well, but because of my confidence, it halted that. And just understandably where my work has gone, it was because of this, it was all to do with self-love and finding and accepting who I was and who I am. That was tough. That was so hard, and even just something that, like, it's just free-flowing in my mind, something just came to me, and my brother-in-law, a very wise man, he said he's been through a lot of pain in his life. He was an alcoholic, and he's a transcended person now. He's doing some beautiful things in the world. And he said to me, he said, Baz, it won't ever be something that you fully release, but it just won't take over your life anymore.
Yes, that is so profound.
Yeah.
That is so profound. I just want to interject here for a minute, and just because what you've just said makes me really profoundly sad to think of a 7-year-old who should be out playing on the playground, and he's in the changing rooms or in the toilets looking at himself. And I find it really interesting that you're saying looking for the light.
Yeah, it was.
So just explain, what that 7-year-old felt, what it means to look for the light. What was he doing?
Powerful. I looked at every intricacy of my body dysmorphia was my face. It was nowhere else.
Yeah.
So trying to find this good light, I couldn't. Everything just seemed bigger than what it was. So my nose, ears, eyes, face, head, and I'd get frustrated in that mirror because comparison came in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the comparison came in that I didn't want to be who I was, basically. So as a young child, even though I absolutely adore my eldest brother, and he's to me, he's a lovely looking guy.
Yeah.
But at that time, I saw that it was ugly. And because I thought I looked like him and my sisters had said that, I was trying to not see him. And that was so hard because we all look very similar. So trying to not see that was very tough. And I was trying to, so even things with my hair and things, I didn't want it to be, so my family from Yemen, my parents are. So culturally, I even didn't really want to be who I was culturally, and be like, because I didn't grow up with anyone of my ethnicity. So I wanted to be like everybody else.
Yeah.
So that comparison was, it just spiraled. As you can see, there's just so more unraveling as I speak. And so really that thing about seeing a good light in myself was something that I feel more comfortable and happy enough.
Yeah.
And some days I just have to give up and surrender. But what it would do would be I'd be in such a low energy for the rest of the day that my spark went. And I just want to go home. Some days I'd actually ring in sick. I'd, get my mom to ring in sick for, and that, and these, like some of the things now, if old friends are listening to this, they wouldn't believe it now. They'd be like, wow, Baz, did you do that? And so that was what it was, Paula. That's what it was. It was trying to find something that I perceived as good enough.
Good enough.
Good enough.
May I ask, if we rewind slightly, if your sisters hadn't have said what they said, would you have still felt the same at some point in your life?
Good question.
That is a very good question.
Good question.
Yeah.
Good question. I would have felt it at some point for sure, because I believe in past life and, that what happens to you is karmic, So I believe that this was a karmic energy, because what it did was put me on the path that I am now, I believe. I mean, at the time I struggled to accept it, but I look back with gratitude for it, because I wanted to be the cool guy.
Yeah.
and I couldn't be that because of my insecurity. So I'd hang around with these popular people. I was captain of the rugby team, but no one really knew the insecurities I had. But I couldn't be them with women as a teenager. I couldn't be that, as teenage boys do. So what it did was didn't give me the ego that they had. They were lovely people, but of course that teenage ego.
Yeah.
That, and then I started to think, I'm trying to be something I'm not. So when I look at it, whether you want to say God, universe, I believe that it gave me the foundation to who I am now. And that's beautiful. Although, I went through a lot of hurt, my actions of who I was because of the lack of self-love I couldn't give. I look back at past relationships, I didn't treat them badly, but I didn't give them what they needed as a man. So, and that looking back, I felt, at the time I felt like, why is this happening to me? But actually I wasn't giving them what they needed. So
when I first had a conversation with you on the phone, because I talked to all the guests first, and one thing I said to you is that I feel that you are the light.
You did actually.
So going back to what you just said about finding the light, I find that really fascinating, because you're also bringing light to so many different people with the work that you do. So do you think that people's experiences that they go through in childhood and adulthood, why me? Why is this happening? But the question is, what is this teaching me? What am I learning to then become a service to community and humanity?
Yeah, this is the thing. That's the light. And I remember you saying something about that you help people breathe, and that was something that someone had told me previously, but I never really. And then for you to feel into that with not really knowing me, after from in a call with you, was a beautiful thing to say. But what it's done with, in terms of how it brings the light. Bringing the light to myself and then bringing it outwards. So just to clarify, firstly, is that for being a coach, there's two things that I love to follow. Is that firstly, I do my best to stay aligned, because how can you help other people? You know, we're not perfect. This, you know, this is all continuous growth. But then the other thing is that I'm not afraid for them to be better than me one day, you know. And that's what, when you say how it comes to me but then goes outwards to other people, is a powerful thing, because I want them to be the best version of themselves. I want them to see the light in themselves. I don't go too much into the past to get them to, because the past is the past. It doesn't exist anymore.
I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
It doesn't exist anymore. So we we can talk about it. But we don't have to go too far into it. We can just, because if you think about it realistically, with just a snap of the fingers, you can really let it go. But of course there is, as Buddhists call samskaras, we just need to release the energy that's attached to us. And I think that bringing you know, there's a thing that I was speaking to someone about not long ago, and sorry, I'm divulging now.
No, that's fine. We like that. Just go wherever it goes.
Just go where my mind's going.
Yeah.
There's a thing that question of people ask, who are you? You know, and a lot of people say, I'm a nurse, I'm a mother, etc. I said, no, who are you? And it's really hard for people to answer that.
Yeah.
But what I say is that you don't even have to answer that question, because as soon as you start bringing what you need into your life, you will go to that answer. So if you need self-love, you'll go towards that self-love and bring that self-love, because it will bring you to your authentic self. If you need more happiness, bring joy into your life, go dancing if that's what you ever always want to do. It's as simple as that. It can be really, really as simple as that. It's bringing what you are needing in your life without trying to force it. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
When did you recognise that? At what moment had you just had enough? Thought, I can't live like this anymore.
It was, so my sister, which I've spoken to you about, she has a school in Bali. She's an author. She's, again, a transcended person. She's a beautiful soul, my sister. So I have two sisters. So this is the other one. They're both beautiful.
I was going to say, is she the one that gave you or sent you on that track in a really kind of strange way, or it was a different one?
They're both beautiful in their own way. Of course, they're both different and authentic in their own way. Yeah. But this one, Kiefer, she's been my guide. She's been a guide to all of us in the family. And there was a day where, I remember this vividly, I was living at home with my mum, and I, believe this or not, I was that fearful of getting my hair cut in a barber shop. I didn't want to see myself in the mirror, that I'd learned to cut my own hair. I had really short hair. Yeah. So I used to learn how to fade my hair. So basically one day, my sister came from Edinburgh. She used to live in Edinburgh. Yeah. And I was cutting my own hair, and I had really short hair, pretty much no hair. And I was cutting it for 5 hours. Yeah. And I couldn't find that good light in myself I've just mentioned. Yeah. And I remember walking downstairs, and my sister knew what was happening, but she didn't intervene. She's very intuitive. She goes, "You okay?" And I just burst out crying. I said, I can't do this anymore, because the energy it takes is profound and unbelievable to try and find perfection in yourself. And I can feel that people listening to this could relate to this. And to find that happiness, that comfortability, which doesn't last long, is so. And that was the moment. And my sister just kind of sat with me and kind of just said, "It's time to get help now." You know, she would help guide me in her own way, but, you know, she's my sister. Yeah, yeah. And that was it. Yeah. There's,
because I often think, well, I say often think, I know that, you know, there's two ways in which we change. And the most profound way is we're so backed into a corner that we're faced with two choices, literally. Yeah. You either do or you don't, you know, and sometimes that can be something really profound and really painful that pushes you, you know, right back. Or the change comes from repetition, and sometimes it's, you've got no choice.
Yes.
You've got no choice. But I believe, and I don't know whether you ever felt this, but I believe there's something in our souls, that thing that we're remembering, that we know is there, but we don't know is there. We don't know we know.
Yeah.
And it just talks to you on such a subtle level.
Yes.
That you know there's something, but you don't know how to get there, and you don't know what it is. You just know know.
But then that comes the outward thing, because we're looking and we're searching, and then, because of society and how we're brought up, we're looking externally, and it is harder to look within, and nobody has the answers except for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So true. I absolutely love healing, and it sounds. I absolutely love the release of the pain. Of course, at the time in that moment, it's tough. But that feeling afterwards of releasing something that could have been karmic, could have been attached to you from this life, and knowing that I've got to do the work, I've got to surrender to this pain and not think, because there was the whole younger me was, why me? Why is this happening to me? Well, I'm a good person.
Yeah.
I try, but it's surrendering to that ego, to that saying, no, just go inwards. And that is the right word for cliche to say go inwards, because people always say it, but it really is that.
It is
But it is that.
Sorry, guys. It is.
That's it. It is.
Do you know the thing that Kerry and I, and we were speaking about this yesterday, because we really do live this life now. It's not a case of going and doing a 9 to 5 for us. This is our life, and we practice it. When we're talking and we're off, it's my energy is off, and I'm going to use
I'm going to go meditate tonight. I'm going to go within, see what's going on.
And what we've realised is spirituality is not woo-woo, love and light all the time. It is messy, painful, messy. Whoa!
Yeah.
Messy,
Hallelujah.
Messy, isn't it?
Yeah,
isn't it?
It is.
But each time you come back with the wah, you're just so much stronger,
lighter,
for sure.
and aren't you?
For sure.
And it's.
So how did you turn it around then? So obviously you realised that and you need to do something about it, and obviously your sister sort of intervened. So talk us through, what was the process? What did you do to kind of?
So because of my sister, I was introduced to different shamanic teachings. She was a shamanic healer. She did work with me. And one of the most profound works that I did, so she used to live in Edinburgh for like over 15 years. Now she's living in Thailand, Bali. And it was so powerful. I was so open to her, because she was Reiki as well. And I remember it started with her doing deep work with me. So I never went to the would you say the normal therapist, in a way that the most people would go to or contact. So I was very intrigued. She said, this would be great for you. So I was open to it. And I remember this lack of self-love was radiating outwards. And the first experience, so before I started working with my sister, so I just touch on just before that, I had kind of 3 on and off partners by this point in my life, in my early 20s. And all 3 partners were very similar. They had like this, some sort of illness or unwell, but for some reason I was just, I've cared for them. It was more, I have a high empath. I'm a high empath. And I didn't know this at the time. But the thing is, though, that I would believe I would give them what they needed, but then also they would all 3 of them let me go. So I was thinking, what is happening? Because I've got this lack of self-love, but I'm trying to give this energy out, but clearly they see something that I don't see. So my sister did some deep healing from a past life. And I'm not sure, how do you feel about past life?
Oh, I'm
fully with you, all over it.
Yeah,
that's good.
Continue.
Yeah,
that's good. And of course, it's my sister, so I'm going to believe everything. She's not going to tell me rubbish, And I remember she called on to spirit guides. She called on my spirit guides and my animal spirit guides, of course. I couldn't see it. I've never been able to visually see things really, but I could feel it, what she could see, and I heard her talking. And she found that in one of my past lives, that I had a wife that passed away from a terrible illness, and I was reliving that in this life, and I hadn't got over it.
Yeah.
So I was attaching myself, because the three women, one had Crohn's, one had what was it now? It's eating disorder, and there was another one that she had a short life expectancy. And a lot of time, people around me would have said, "Baz, be mine. What would you know? Do you feel like you want to get?" And I didn't see that though. But when my sister told me that, because I felt it, I just poured with tears. Like I felt the pain that I had. But I remember seeing it like it was in the kind of mud huts, that kind of past life.
Really? Wow.
And I remember the sadness I felt. And my sister did some healing around it and said that that basically my past life, the wife who passed away, said, "It's okay, I'm good. You know, you can move on. You know, I'm okay," because I felt a lot of pain. And then because of that, I was able to release that karmic energy over time. I was able to integrate that into my life, that it's okay now, you know. And things started to change then. And then I was really more intrigued with kind of opening my world up to astrology, to even getting a therapist as well. I went through the NHS at first. And I was very lucky, actually. I had 10 sessions. I had a great woman who, you know, wasn't in a way, everybody's spiritual, right? But never communicated spirituality. It was just kind of to the book. She helped me remove some rituals from my life. You'll laugh at this one. I couldn't look into a mirror. I laugh at it now, so we might as well, you know, trauma should be fun as well, right?
Yeah.
So I used to catch on to different things. So this is one thing she allowed me to remove, was someone said one day that this is where the body dysmorphia, as soon as you find something, you try and use it. Oh, people look better with shades on. So I went, okay, before I go into a mirror, let me put shades on.
Really?
So then when I got into the mirror with the shades on, when I felt comfortable of seeing the outline of my face, I would then remove it. It's so weird, right? But it worked. But I built this ritual so I'd not look at myself in a bad light, because if I jumped into a mirror, instantly I was shocked by the body small we see as shock and too much. But the shades would make me only see a certain part of the face, get used to that, take the shades off, then it would just be the eyes. So, but this is how clever.
I love that though.
How clever you can be.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
I know.
So
it's amazing. I had one where I used to, because I suffered really, bad anxiety, and the paving stones on the slabs.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't walk on the cracks.
Okay.
And then if a car was coming up behind me, I would have to run and get to the lamppost before the car did without walking on the cracks.
That's amazing.
If I did that, I was going to have a good day. I'd get on the bus and I'd go to work. If I didn't, it meant I was going to have a bad day and I'd have to go
Powerful.
home.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think we should talk about these.
Yeah.
I think it's because I laugh at, I'm so open. I was insecure at the time. God forbid if my partner at the time knew I was doing this. I'll take these same shades with me everywhere in my toiletry bag, and so she helped me remove those kind of rituals. Like she used like the reframe and these different things, right? And then of course plant medicine came in, and cacao and all these different beautiful things, and I just embraced and surrendered. And the biggest thing was, for me, is that my bones are not going to change. My face is not going to change unless I have a serious amount of plastic surgery, and that's not going to happen. So, but the thing is, though, for me, is that I had to accept that this is never going to change for the rest of my life, and I have to see the beauty in who I am and the uniqueness in who I am, and the inner child needed healing. I remember one time through a healing, I just saw my inner child just crying. And it was so sad to see, and just holding that person. younger self, because he was sad. Like that inner child energy was so sad. So I've cried a lot of tears. I've removed a lot of attachment from my mom and my sister, because bless her, my sister, who of course said what she said with no intention. I couldn't be around her for years. And when she would come over to my mom's house, bless her, Mona, if you're listening to this, I love you. And she knows that. That she knew that why I felt I didn't want to be around her, because I just felt like she would be judging me, and she wasn't. But that's what felt, that uncomfortability, that energy. And I remember the day that I told her, I said to her, you do know that I'm uncomfortable? And she goes, yeah, I always speak to mom and say why. But she never came to me to ask me why, because she knew the energy was so intense for her from me. And she just burst out crying. She said, I didn't mean that. I said, I know you didn't. It's nothing to do with you. It's to do with me.
Yeah.
And she felt really sad. And even now, I send a voice note to say how much I love her and how much I care for her. And I do that with all my siblings, to show the appreciation, because it's been a tough road, but I wouldn't change it.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
We wouldn't, because that's what led you right here to this moment. Who are you now?
Wow, good question.
Give it some. Tell us, who are you?
You know what? You've asked me this at the perfect time in my life. If you asked me probably a year and a half ago, probably been a lot different. Yesterday different as well. Who knows? But in terms of everything, every day changes,
it
right?
does, yeah.
But for me now, I would say I love myself. I know my worth. I set solid boundaries with love, and I let go of people and things in my life with love, with authenticity. Because, like Ram Dass says, love everybody but tell the truth.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And that telling the truth has been really powerful, because I'm earth element. Earth element is following your heart. Of course, fire, intuition. So I follow my heart now more so that, if I'm having a bad day, like the right distractions are good for the soul. So I know myself in the sense, if I need to watch Netflix today, I'll do that.
Yeah.
If I need to eat good food, I will. So it's knowing that I love my own space, but I love connection. I love to be happy and smiling, and I'm still working on that part of my life, to find enjoyment in this beautiful world, and I think that's really powerful. And of course, in terms of my work, I'm accepted that this is what I do in my life now. That I'm here to guide people, but keep myself aligned and happy at the same time, because I work daily communication-wise with my clients, and I absolutely love it. Some people may not agree with it, but because they may see it as a lot of work, because you communicate with your clients every day for their well-being. Is that tough? I say no. And if you were to ask me, why don't you find it tough? It's because it's like I'm talking to my friends. That's how I see it.
I'm exactly the same. Let's talk about your work.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you do and how you support and help people.
Yeah, I started firstly with the physical. So I started with something I knew best, because I played sport and did all these different things. And then I went through, so I am a master NLP and life coach. And I support people. It's a really good question, because there's so many different facets of what I work with. So I work with relationships. I work with self-love, acceptance of transitioning from one life to the next. But how I specifically work is, let me tell you what someone just said to me 3 days ago, a client of mine. And I now work with high achievers. So my business is transferring into what would be high achievers in terms of successful business people, etc. But beautiful people, and along their path, what I always say is that along your path to finding success is to go inwards along that path and not wait until you get there to then go, I have everything I need. I still feel broken inside.
Yeah.
So it's to heal along the path. But the ones that I work with have found the success, and now they're lost.
Yeah.
They're inward, like, I've got everything I need, but it doesn't give me the happiness I need. So this client told me, he said, Baz, I've had people I've coaches and therapists in the past, and you're the only one who sees me for who I am and sees me for a person and not the success, the money. And that's the whole philosophy of who I am. I see the heart. I'll go into the heart and see what sadnesses they have, what struggles they have. Because, like I say, when I was younger, why me? I wanted people to see what was behind that, behind my pain. So the biggest thing for me is to support people in really seeing them for them and not having that coach and client dynamic.
Yeah.
Because of course there needs to be that, because there'll be a blurred line there of respect at some point, in terms of remembering that I am your coach, but then the friendship in some ways, without calling it a friendship, is a beautiful thing, because trust, and I always say that, the first time I speak to them, I say, you don't trust me right now, and I understand that, but take your time, be authentic, open as you need to be, and I'm here to support you and get you where you need to be on that journey, no matter how long that takes, until you say, Baz, I don't need you anymore.
Like Nanny McPhee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's what's really important to me when it comes to my work, is seeing the person behind the identity that's been built.
Talk to me about humanity. I can't get that out of my head. I feel the need to ask you that question.
Okay.
So it's just how you feel about our world at the moment. What do you foresee for humanity, and how is your work filtering into the collective?
That's one of these things that I've been trying to avoid because of what's happening in the world at the moment is tough to see and hear in parts of the world, right? And so I don't watch things like the news.
No, me neither.
Scroll social medias and things like that. I try and get on social media, post what I need to, and come off. So what I think about it is with AI and all these different things, and we said something off camera about social media. We find it tough sometimes, especially where we're more connected inwards. But it's a facet that we need as such. And with AI, for me, and what's happening in the world, that we're becoming more disconnected from the mind and wanting too much ease. And I think that what I want to be able to bring in my small part of the world is to stay connected with yourself, and to there are going to be parts of your life where you may need quick AI, or whatever, but to always have that balance of reading, of understanding yourself, of connecting human to human, nature. And I think with everything that's happening is to be mindful that, when I talked earlier about bringing what you need, to bring your happiness, to take you where you need to be in life, and what brings you to your authentic self, is to keep those things at the forefront in the chaos of what's happening in the world. And just one other thing, if you were also talking about the pain that's happening in the world, for me, I will do my part, but there's only so much as one human you can do. So to attach yourself to what the pain that's happening in the world will only cause detriment to myself and bring me into sadness. So I will do things and give, which humans are. Humans are here for service, and that's what and that service is, I can't do everything but a service in the world, but I will do something. And where I feel that is not hiding or shying away and just doing a little bit so it just shows that it's enough. It's doing enough that when my heart is full, And I think that's what, if everybody can do that and not try and think, what's my bit of energy going to change? Where I've heard that before, but do what's right in your heart. Don't try and do what everybody else is doing. Whatever you see as where you want to go with your giving, go there. Just because your friend's doing something maybe for Macmillan Cancer or something, whatever, that doesn't align with you. Just give it elsewhere, because the universe and the God is coming through you to give. So whatever your heart is gravitating towards, then do it. You know, I'm currently doing a fitness competition on Saturday and I'm raising money for Macmillan Cancer Support, but never crossed my mind before I decided to do that. I came and I booked the tickets to do it, and Macmillan Cancer Support was on it, and it went into my heart, and I realised, why am I seeing this? And then I remembered that a client of mine got cancer when I was working with her, and I just felt her pain for a second. I was like, I'm doing it for that. So it's not forcing it. That's what I'm trying to say, in a way. You know.
And I agree, and I think this is probably why I needed to say this, because I wonder whether you're aware of how profoundly you are affecting humanity.
Bless you. That's
and
really nice.
what I mean by that is it's the ripple effect from heart, because when you're in complete coherence, that's having such a knock-on effect. And I think this is the point that that I think about a lot, and I'm trying to get at, is that I truly believe that our planet and humanity is changing consciously. I really believe that. You know, that I think that so many, we hate the word awakened, don't we?
We do.
we can't bear it. What word did you
You're
use?
so awakened now.
Transcended. Yeah, I think there are so many more people that are opening themselves up to that. And
Sounds
I think
more posh.
Yeah, and collectively.
It has light as well, doesn't it?
It does. It does
Light.
have a lot of light.
Yeah.
And I think collectively it's having a huge impact on our planet and the people that live on it. And I just wondered how aware of that you were, that every time you sit in that heart space, it's not just about the person that you're dealing with, it's how they interact with the next person and they interact with the next person.
It's only quite recently that I've felt that in myself, the ripple effect, because my clients are, you attract the clients that are meant to be for you, right?
Yes.
And these clients are now becoming therapists and coaches in their own right.
Exactly, that's it.
And it's a beautiful thing, because I joke with them. I say, you sounded like me. But their response is like, I need to. You need to pay me.
Yeah, exactly.
And they just joke back, and that ripple effect is what it's, because like you say, you can't do it all by yourself.
No.
So the ripple effect will do its thing.
Exactly. Yeah, when it comes from heart.
Yeah,
when it comes from ego, it has a different intention behind it. But when it's coming from heart, I just think I can see it, and it's so powerful.
I just had a really strong image then of the ocean. Oh, actually knocked the microphone for a change. I've done it twice. Had this really strong image of the ocean, and every time you do something heart-centered with good intention, it just ripples out through the ocean. Which is, the ocean is the consciousness, the water, emotions. So we're so powerful.
Oh, we are.
We are.
Yeah.
And there's conversations I've had about, we really don't know energy to the maximum that we should know it.
No.
And the attachments that you can have and the stored energy that you can have from other people is so powerful, especially when you are an empath or a high empath, because you open your heart so much, and then you don't realise how much you're taking on. And I realise that's very powerful, because that ripple effect of energy is also an understanding that I had to really know, because, we talk about protecting your energy, but it's not about, I see it as not protecting your energy, it's understanding yourself, because then you can set the boundary of where it's not about going, oh, no, I don't want you in my life, I don't want to be around you. It's being calm in those places and saying, right, I need to take a step back from this and just feel into this through some cacao or whatever in your own space, to feel into that heart center, and have those times when you need to cry or you need to feel and not fear it. And because, of course, me being a coach, me being aligned as best I can, okay, and I'm not human. I've given it away.
Brilliant. Yeah, we're into
It's all in the media
well.
now. It's all in the, and this is what's really powerful. It's knowing you. So being alive is so important. So then I can then be the best I can possibly can for those to then that ripple effect to happen. And I genuinely believe that whether I call it this, that I'm so accepting. So I'm knocking the table now as well. I'm really with, we call it God or universe, on this path right now of just whatever happens, I know it's happening for me. I'm 100% with that, because before I never used to be. And now I'm with that, and whatever happens comes. And there's one other thing that's just come to my mind that I would love to share, is that I've been told that, but I love this concept that we have the physical mind and the spiritual mind. And the spiritual mind is where the affirmations come from, and where you become more aligned with your higher self, and and bringing what you need into your life. And that part of the physical mind is, if we're too attached to that, that's what stops those things that are meant to be coming for you, and doesn't allow, and that monkey brain and all these different things. And I'm in awe of where I'm at. Every day I tell people who like to know or ask, I'm in awe, because when I look at myself 20 years ago, wow, sometimes I sit when I'm by myself and just go, wow, this is such a beautiful place that I'm in. And I see what the beauty is going to come without no expectations.
Yeah, it's because you've done the inner work.
Yeah.
It's and being guided through plant medicine and have been very powerful. The last 2 years have been so profound for me. And as I talk about the 2 lives theory with my work, is something that I've really done over the last 2.5 years. That's been the biggest shift in my life. And I'm so grateful. So a lot of sadness, past traumas that was stored in my body.
Yeah.
Has been, but I feel that you probably can tell I'm very calm. Sometimes I'm talking at this podcast, I go, Baz, you seem really calm the way you speak, but it's just who I am. It's just where I'm at. But on the other side, I have different facets of who I am, that joy, that excitement, that calmness.
You're aligned. That's what I feel.
It's hard to say that I'm aligned, because then it feels like I'm
aligned.
Yeah, for someone else to say you seem aligned, it's a beautiful thing to hear. But when you say I'm aligned, it feels, I don't want it to feel like, because everyone still has work to do.
Yeah.
No one's, I think I've watched a podcast with you said no one's got their shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And excuse my language.
No, swearing's appropriate.
And that's true.
Yeah.
And it's just being aware. Like I said something, I never finished it earlier, that my brother-in-law, he was an alcoholic, and he used to cry all day, every day. It was so painful part of his life. And he said to me, Baz, the thing about it doesn't take over your life anymore, but it's always going to be some sort of part of you. He says, I now cry for probably about 30 seconds a day instead of 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And he told me in a way, and I sat with it, because he didn't say anything else. And I sat with it, and he just meant that it's okay to still feel pain. When it comes, when you feel it, just let it go.
Yeah.
And that's where I find the beauty in this world, because God gave us every emotion, grief, happiness, sadness. We've got to have it all, and it's just been a beautiful thing, including losing my father the last 5 years. So
that's tough.
It was a beautiful thing, though. In a way, I know you probably people thinking, listening to that, is that a beautiful thing, losing your father? But he had a good life, and the experience I had with him at the end of life. Because another thing that I like to teach is that grief is in everything. Grief is in this conversation.
Yeah.
The conversation won't happen the same way again. The last piece of cake you know.
Oh yeah, I know that grief.
Yeah, I love a good cake. And this is, my sister taught me this one, is that she used to teach that because grief is our biggest teacher. And with losing my dad I didn't know this when Dad passed in 2021, his physical body, and you know he's now in spirit. But for me, my sister, my brother made me face my fear that day. I don't know if you want me to quickly share this little story, because it's just to maybe help somebody who's struggling with grief at the moment. I remember all my siblings would tell me I was the closest to my dad. I love my dad, and I love my mum also, but I was very close to him. And it was my biggest fear. I never had grief in my life in terms of losing somebody in this world. And the last day, the day before he passed, I was staying at my mum's because I was supporting my mum because she was his full-time carer. And I moved home and he'd got pneumonia, and the ambulance came and took him, and it was through COVID time, so only one person could be with him. And for 8 hours while he was in this cubicle, it was just me and Dad. And I said I wanted to be there with him. And I remember crying with him and talking to him, and he was unconscious, but he was holding my finger. I have a photo of it on my phone. It's a beautiful thing, but he knew I was there. And before I was born, I had a brother who passed as a baby. And I remember my sister telling me, and because my mum told her, that my dad cried endlessly when he passed. And I was telling him his name is Anwar. And I said, and I kept telling him, you can go now. Oh, I can feel that emotion. I've released the grief, but it's a memory.
Of course,
you know. So, and it's okay, everyone listening. It's okay to talk about it and still have tears. It doesn't mean that you feel the pain still. It's a memory. It's an emotional memory. And it was beautiful. And then I remember the ambulance was about to take him home, and he wouldn't let me go of my finger. And I said, Dad, it's okay. They're going to take you home. And he kind of let go, but he wasn't conscious. He came home anyway. The next day, my mum was obviously in pain. She's struggling with the fact that she's going to lose someone she's been with since she's 72 now, and he passed 4 years ago, and my mum was with him since she was 18. So it was like a best friend in a way. So anyway, the last day came, and for some reason, I had to leave the house because I needed to tell all my clients that my dad was passing. It was something I had to just kind of, so I can just be present. And they were like, Baz, you didn't need to tell us, but thank you. I hope everything's okay. I came back into the house after about half an hour, and his breath had subsided. And my brother, he's a counsellor. He's a beautiful soul. He's younger than me. He's a twin. He's the youngest in the family. He was there in these Buddha beads. My sister had brought back from India from the Bodhi tree. And he was there just really strong. And I just started crying. I moved from Dad's side and I started to cry. And all he said was, Baz, come here. He goes, come here. And I said, what? And I was still crying. He said, look at him. He said, it's not him anymore. It's just his physical form in pain. His spirit's already on the way out. You don't have to see him for seeing his... And instantly I faced my fear because of my brother. And I sat with him. Me and my brother started to joke, have a fun. And then my dad started to lose his breath. And we knew he was about to pass. And my mum was sitting over the other side of the room. And I said, Mum, I think he's about to say, lose his breath. And I just remember this moment. My mum was in shock and fear. And she came over and put her head, just the emotions just came to the throat then, just put her head and her hand on her heart and just said, that I can still feel his heartbeat, like she was hoping that he was still breathing. And then his breath went and she just was in tears. And in that moment, I went into autopilot and I helped with the coroner came, we carried my dad's body out. I closed his eyes and his mouth. I was, an hour before that, I was in fear, of losing him, but something had changed and switched. And then I was helping sort out the funeral, and then the funeral came. And afterwards, I was obviously still living at home, and my mum came in my bedroom with the letters, bless her. And she just, and I'm going to swear in a minute because it's what I said to her, but it was very calm, but she knew I'd done a lot at this time. I didn't swear at her, it was around. I said, Mum, I can't do this anymore. I need to grieve. And she just turned and slowly walked out the room. And because she knew she had all of the siblings to help, but she kept coming to me. And in that moment, I grieved. I lived with my mom. The only time I never had a conversation with her, about a month. I just said hello to her when I'd come back from clients, and I'd go to my bedroom. I remember on the way to clients, I would cry, I'd be happy. My go-to song to release was Luther Vandross Dance with my father in the car. So But what I'm trying to say is that with grief, when you lose someone, is that really grieve. Find that time to grieve, because I chose, instead of saying I don't want to feel this pain, I chose to grieve and see the spirit and the beauty of his life, and what I had no regrets, and the sadness that came, and the sadness for my mom, because I kind of wrote a eulogy for myself as well, like if I was going to speak and say all the beautiful things. So, and this is something that I bring into my life. I bring into to be present. And you hear everyone say, be present, be present. It is hard sometimes to be present. But it's just knowing that all there is the here and now. And even in this moment of being present, yes, your mind can wander, but it's being conscious, consistently being conscious, and coming back to yourself and saying, wow, I'm feeling this emotion. What is that? Feeling this joy. This is great, because you're going to miss it.
Yeah.
And that's what's beauty. And in that moment, I realised how powerful grief is. And some people have mentioned that because of what I've been through, technically I'm an old soul, because I've been through a lot of things in my life. I don't know the concept of that. I don't know if any of you two can really enlighten me with the old, what would you say old soul would be? But I always believe that it's if you've been through a lot in your life. I don't know what you feel.
I always thought it was just somebody who's been here a lot, who's had lots of lessons and moved through them.
I got told that when I was 17, 16, an old soul, wisdom.
Thank you so much for sharing with us. It's been a real pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, it's been great.
Listen to your story.
Yeah, thank you.
Have you got any words of wisdom you'd like to say to people that are listening?
If I can say one thing that I've learned for myself and what I do for other clients is that there's more for you, and to go inwards, but loving yourself, coming back to love and loving yourself and accepting who you are. And if you don't, just say, okay, I don't accept myself right now, but tell yourself that for you to have the life that you want and to really love yourself is to fully accept every intricacy of who you are. You are unique. Don't try and look like anybody else. You're beautiful. And for you to accept it, as soon as you do that, everything else external becomes irrelevant to how you feel.
Yes, I really feel that.
And that's what I'd love to share. So thank you.
Thank you so much
Thank you everyone
for
for
being
listening.
here.
And thank you for having me here. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.